Hey everybody, Scott from Alcohol and Anime Night here, and tonight we are going to check out the TransMetal BWM-08 TransMetal Blackwidow, aka the Metal Spider, also known as the TransMetal 2 Blackarachnia from BeastWars. This is a third-party figure, meaning that it is not officially licensed, so it doesn't have any logos or anything on it, but the original figure was made back in the 90s. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. If you're not aware already, there is an upcoming Rise of the Beasts movie, which will be featuring several characters from the original BeastWars show. And that's very exciting because there have been some hints that Blackarachnia may be in the show, or at least be referenced in some way alongside Nightbird and alongside RC. So we've already seen both of those. We're definitely going to be in the film, so let's hope my favorite character is going to be in the film as well. Huge spoilers ahead. I am going to spoil a ton of stuff from Beast Wars, so if you haven't watched the original show and you want to, I'm afraid I'm going to spoil quite a lot of things here. In fact, just seeing the figure is a big spoiler as well. That's your warning if you want it. So for those of you who haven't seen the original series, Blackarachnia is a badass girl turned less bad girl by the power of simpy love on her beloved Silverbolt. She was first seen in this form in Season 3, Episode 9, which is called Crossing the Rubicon, which is a really good episode. Again, it's almost at the end of the series, though, where this happens. There's another character that happens right at the end as well. And on the box itself is actually, on the back part of the box, is actually the scene where the TransMetal driver actually brings her back to life as this in this TransMetal 2 form. So yeah, I'm spoiling quite a lot of things. She literally dies. So I thought that was cool to reference that specific moment on the box. So they really knew their fans and their fanboys like me who were going to be excited to see that kind of thing. So the cool box art is already a win on this. So some assembly is going to be required on this figure, namely putting the legs on. I will say that they seem really fragile at first, and like there's a bendy joint on the knee, and when you bend it the first time, it feels like you're just going to snap it. At the price of that figure, that gets a little scary. There's a few joints that are pretty tight that once you start moving them, she's a dainty figure, so she doesn't have that bulk that makes you feel like everything's going to be fine, but so far so good. As far as the transformation is concerned, you do not get a set of traditional instructions, and I know some people might be a little bummed by that. However, you do get a card that has a QR code on it, and one of those QR codes takes you to Mangmotion's video, which actually walks you right through it. Now, I've heard some reviewers say that the QR code didn't work. It worked for me just fine. So if not, you can literally just search Mangmotion on YouTube and it's the same one. That guy does amazing videos. If you haven't checked him out, I'm definitely pimping his stuff. He did such a cool job. It was a great idea to get him involved. So he definitely helped sell that figure for sure. Kudos, TransArt. I will also tell you, be very careful when transforming, not just so you don't break your very expensive figure, but some of these spiky bits on her arms are very sharp. Actually makes it hard when you're trying to manipulate it. You have to push on it and you're literally like poking your hand almost like in a needle. So it's cool that they did that. No regular, like Hasbro would never make things that sharp, and I think it's pretty awesome that they made it that way. A little dangerous though. The stand that's included has a unique attachment for each mode, so for her beast mode and for her robot mode. And they each have a unique kind of attachment. I don't know why they didn't go with the standard kind of peg and hole type thing, which has worked for ages and ages. However, it works. So it's an odd choice, but it really works. So I got no complaints. It just feels like it would have been simpler to do it the other way. At nearest makes no difference to $79, this is not an inexpensive figure. However, check out the price of an original figure from the 90s, and you'll see how amazing the price really is. Boy, that original figure, That thing's got some shoulder pads some 1980s businesswomen would definitely be envying. So, get ready for a totally relevant hot take. She's totally not a Black Widow spider anymore once she becomes transmetal. If you look at a Black Widow spider, which you can see her original, this does not resemble that at all. Now, two reasons. What with the longer pedipalps, and I did have to look that up, it's like the front legs. They're much longer than a normal spider has, but tarantulas tend to have much longer ones. It almost makes them look like they have 10 legs. And she's not black anymore. Her body color is completely changed. I now believe that she's actually a tarantula, which is perhaps a remnants from Tarantulus's fatal program that he put in her. On top of that, I'm actually pretty sure that they're referencing certain blue tarantulas that exist. I didn't know this, that there's several breeds of blue tarantulas. One of them being a green bottle blue tarantula, but there's also a Brazilian blue tarantula. They both look kind of similar to what she is. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that she's no longer a Black Widow at this point as far as the spider form. So that's my fan conspiracy theory. I think it's just a theory. I'm not sure there's conspiracy. You can keep the little skirt bit on, and it does look pretty good. It's a bit of a shell, and it kind of splays out and kind of almost looks like a Victorian skirt if you do it right. And she can even stand up without the stand with it, because I believe there's some die-cast metal in her really cool high-heeled feet. I believe there's some metal there that kind of helps push it down a bit more. If not, you just use the stand. But you can disconnect that piece, and that will help you with the transformation quite a lot. Some people might call it parts forming. I would actually say it just helps you with the transforming so you don't break it. But you absolutely can do that with the spider bit on the back. And if you take the spider bit off, it also opens up quite a lot of extra posing. The range of motion is limited a little bit with that on there, but believe it or not, with it off, it's a little bit more accurate to the animation model. This figure features what I thought was a pretty cool throwback. Her bra is actually removable. And you might think, that's a super weird thing to include in the figure. And you'd be right. Except for the original figure actually was rumored to have some runs where that was a removable piece. And you can actually see it in the original figure. And I do recommend you take it off for the transformation because, one, it's going to fall off anyway. It's held on by a magnet, but a pretty weak magnet. It's perfectly fine for display, but once you start moving around, it's going to come off. The second reason is that once you complete kind of the final transformation steps, once you fold these last two bits in, which have a cutout for her ample bosom, it's not ample enough to fit with the bra on. So maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I've not been able to get it to fit that way. And I don't think Manga Motion was able to either, from what I was able to determine. So take it off for the transformation. That's my suggestion. Some people might say, this is way too sexy of a figure. Why did they make it extra sexy? And they didn't. They stayed pretty true. They didn't really sexy it up. This is pretty much true to the original kids show animation model. And be that as it may, some people might say, "Oh, that's crazy anime stuff," and you'd be wrong because it was a Canadian animation company. So does that make it Canada-May? Now, while the joints are a little scary to move, and there is some range of motion that is limited by her shoulder pads, they're on a bit of a ball joint, but I would have really liked to be able to see her get her hands above her head. That would have really offered some more dynamic posing, but I can't really complain too much. Her claws do open and close. That's cool. I thought they'd be more of a static thing, so that's really cool. Her head actually becomes like a blaster thing, but you can also install that on her, so there's some weapon storage on that as well. However, once you get her transformed up to her robot mode, you cannot resist getting this thing into some super lewd and super provocative poses. I did a little photo shoot and it ended up looking like an OnlyFans set. And you know what? I'm okay with that. So if you end up thinking about this figure, if you are a fan of the fembots, or if you're a fan of Blackarachnia, I absolutely recommend you go to ShowZ and pick this one up. I will say this is one of my first orders from ShowZ, and they nailed it. They knocked it out of the park from the pre-order process to the customer support to the delivery. Their packaging is like bomb-proof. It has corner protectors and everything. They let me know every step along the way. I can't say enough about them. And if you do go there, if you have a favorite toy reviewer, like I would suggest Jobby the Hong or maybe Tidarium Hanger, they're both really great. You can actually support them and they get a little kickback on their channel too. I don't have anything, so don't worry about me, but support one of those guys. They put in a hell of a lot of work and make the internet a better place. So this has been a fun time. Pick up that figure. My name was Scott. Kampai.